2015, an elite DFS Army Commando unit formed to bring high-level DFS strategy to the masses. Today, hated by DFS sharks and lineup sellers alike, they continue their quest to turn dope into DFS pros.
Alright guys, welcome back on the DFS Army MMA VIP podcast talking UFC Fortaleza, Brazil. Main event is Marlon Magic Moraes taking on Rafael Assunção. Sniper back with you. Kyle Big Marley is here as always, and the return of the fantasy football geek, our fearless leader Kevin Allen with us back for his, I think it's true love in MMA to break down this card. Kevin, we'll start with you. Good card to come back to. A lot of craziness for us to talk about.
I guess you could call it a good card. It's a very, very tough card to make my debut here with you guys, with just a lot of fights that are tough calls and super close, and odds less than minus 200. So really close fights, very tough calls. A lot of some premiering fighters that we've never seen before. So, pretty much part and parcel for another DFS UFC event.
Kyle, how would you kind of categorize this card as a whole?
Man, I really don't love it, but I do like that it's not, like, there's no big favorites like in the last card where there are three big favorites, so it's a stars and scrubs type of lineup. Now it's all close odds, so there are no real locks on this card, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be interesting to see what people do.
So we right now are doing this podcast part free and part for our VIPs. We're going to cover the main card of each card moving forward. We have 9 straight weeks of MMA contests to look forward to, free for all to listen to. After the main card gets broken down, take a quick pause, and that section of the podcast will be for our VIP members. If you want to become a DFS Army VIP, go to the website, sign up. We all have promo codes. And what I've been doing the last few weeks is whoever you like best, use their promo code. Mine is Sniper. Kyle's is Sleeveless. And Kevin's is, I believe it's just Geek, correct?
It is Geek, yeah. And
or you could just use Podcast if you don't want to pick. Just put in Podcast, and that gets you 20% off as well to all the DFS Army tools. Research Station's got all the prop best statistics you want. The Domination Station is a full lineup optimizer with some of the tools and projections from the Research Station built in. Access to our VIP chat. We have and talk to all three of us, talk fights, fun little community in there. So definitely recommend it. But for that, enjoy the free part of the podcast. Make sure you know what you're getting. And guys, got anything else to add, or should we break down some fights?
No, let's get into it. Yeah, let's get these fights broken down, man. I'm excited to get back into some MMA.
And of course, with we're on UFC on ESPN Plus. A little bit longer main cards. You're getting a little bit extra for free this week. 6 fights on the main card. We start off with Levinha Souza, 9,100, taking on Sarah Frota at 7,100. Souza is the favorite at minus 200. Frota, the comeback on her, is plus 185. Women's fight, so the over is actually right now, fight does not go to decision, is actually minus 170. Thinking of the wrong fight. So Vegas expecting to finish in this one. Weigh-ins today were telling because Frota, the underdog, missed weight by 7 pounds. Didn't even try. She, has fought up at bantamweight before. Didn't even try to make the strawweight limit. Came in at like 123. Souza, on the other hand, smaller fighter. She probably could fight at atom weight. She's the more technical fighter. Should have the advantage pretty much everywhere technically. Better striker. I think she's a better grappler. The issue here is Frota is just so much damn bigger that it gives you big pause at, to put any money down on Souza at minus 200. So for that reason, this is one of the fights I'm going to play a little of both sides on. I'm still going to be heavier on Souza because ultimately I do think the skill is going to be enough versus the size mismatch. Not to be sexist, but if it was a men's fight with that big of a weight discrepancy, it would bother me a little more. Women's MMA is a little bit more raw. I think Souza has the striking and the grappling prowess to get this one done. It gives me enough pause to not roster Souza in cash. I don't think I'm going to go there. She's more of, if you're familiar with my ranking system, she's like a yellow type of play for me somewhere in the middle. But Souza is my pick to win the fight. How do you have this one for DraftKings, Kevin?
All right, so basically I have one thing I'm always looking for in my DraftKings fighters. I want relentless takedown specialists. And when you watch the tape on Souza, that's absolutely what she is. She goes for takedowns nonstop. She wants to get it to the ground. She wants to get her jiu-jitsu going, and she's pretty good at it. So, that style of fight has really led to some pretty good DraftKings scores from other female fighters. One of the nice things about when women fight in MMA, they're less likely to knock each other out. So usually, whatever the skill set is that they have, especially somebody who's reasonable at takedowns and a BJJ practitioner type, they have a really nice advantage in women's MMA. So initially watching the tape, I love Souza here. She is exactly the style of fighter I like to target on DraftKings, and especially in female MMA where, again, there's a gap generally of skill between certain girls who just aren't able to stop takedowns or don't really have a great ground game. That said, the size of Frota is concerning. She's way bigger than Souza, and, that gives me a reason for pause. I'm not sure she's a nasty striker. I'm pretty sure she's a member of the MS-13 gang, based on her general look. And so, she's taken time off from raping and pillaging to do this fight. She's a mean-looking lady. I'd be pretty scared crossing that street if I saw her coming at me. And she's much bigger than Souza, so it adds a little element of taking Souza from what was a pretty safe cash play based on her skills and watching her fights to a little risky here, and maybe we want to kind of pay up for one of these other maybe safer high dollar plays. And Frota, sure, worth a couple shares. I mean, she's got a nasty left hand. She knocks bitches out you see it. She was fighting on the regionals against pretty much turds, but she's a pretty nasty striker too. She's not a bad fighter at all.
Kyle, how about for you?
Yeah, I mean, Geek killed that. He's pretty much said it all. I'm a little bit more nervous now because of the whole size advantage, 7 pounds missed weight. But I do like her in all formats still. I think she's still going to get the job done. I think she's a better fighter everywhere. I think the size is the only thing she's not going to have here. So I'm still going to be on her. I haven't made my full 20 lineups yet, and I don't have any Frota. I'd imagine I will throw her in a couple more as hedges, really, because I'm gonna be heavier on Souza. She's gonna be one of my top 4 owned fighters, I would say. So I like Souza in all formats. Not sure if she'll be in my cash lineup yet or not, but I do like her in cash, and I hope she sends this chick packing with that 7 pounds missed weight on her UFC debut. That's ridiculous. So go Souza.
Okay, so I'm glad I get to go last on this next fight because it's one I think we're going to have the most debate about here, at least in the free portion. Johnny Walker, 9,200, taking on Justin Ledette at 7,000. Johnny Walker is the favorite in this one, minus 192. Comeback on Ledette is plus 177. Inside the distance props. Fight does not go to decision, minus 155. Find Walker. Walker wins inside the distance, plus 130. Ledette wins inside the distance, plus 400. I will say that plus 130 is actually the best on the card. There is not a single fighter on this card who is favored to win inside the distance. Kind of a rare thing. I would have thought Walker fell in that range. He doesn't here. For the fight breakdown, let's start with Kevin on this one.
Right. Right. So basically, what you have here in the tape that I've watched, I've seen enough of Ledette to know pretty much what he is. He's got a lot of durability. He has a nice jab. Pretty decent boxer. His wins have come against some of the worst fighters I've ever really seen in the UFC. So Chase Sherman, Mark Gardbeer, and of course, my favorite, Rashad Coulter, I believe, was one of his wins. So, I mean, those guys are not like UFC, caliber fighters. And then he moves down and he, takes a whooping, by what I think is a very, very good Alexander Bracken. So, that's the setup. The issue with Ledet is he has no power. He really doesn't knock anybody out. There's nothing about his game that is scary. So, he's a points fighter and he's gonna, it wasn't, okay, his other fight was against some guy, Anawano. Doesn't matter. So the point is, Ledet, not super impressive, but he's out there, the best I could say about him is he's got nice boxing, he's got a nice jab. I think he could actually win this fight. So, with Johnny Walker, here's the thing, he's athletic, he's long, he has a lot going for him, but he definitely fell in love with this sort of tie clinch, knee to the face thing that he tries to do over and over again. Even when he's piecing a guy up from distance, he'll close the distance, grab the tie clinch, and try to get those knees to the head for the knockout. That's what he's trying to knock you out with his knees. So he pulled it off on Roundtree, and he's had some trouble with that move against some other fighters. The issue for me with him is if he doesn't knock you out, with his style of fighting isn't going to score very much. So, he's not putting up a high volume of strikes, and he's not really going for takedowns. So if he doesn't get this early finish, he's going to have a very hard time paying off on that salary. And my other concern with Johnny Walker is basically, that's not bad. Like, he could points you up. He has the boxing game, and if you're not going to take him down, he could just stand in boxing range. I don't think Walker is that much better than him, to the point where I'm not 100% sure Walker's even going to win this fight. So I'm kind of thinking of Walker as more of a tournament-only type play. GPP definitely not going to make my cash game because I think he could lose. And I don't think he scores highly unless he gets a finish, which he can. Obviously, he has the best finish odds. And Ledet is a sort of super punt play. I don't see him knocking anybody out. He hasn't looked like he can get a knockout. So what's he going to do? Throw a bunch of jabs, land 50 strikes, and win a decision? That's not going to score very well. So, to me, he's just a kind of a punt guy / someone I'm not going to use.
Kyle, how about for you?
Yeah, I think, I like Walker here. I think he's the more dangerous fighter, so I like him more for GPPs, but I'm going to have some Ledet in GPPs as well because he is the better boxer, and I think that jab can cause problems for Walker, keep him away, and that could either turn this fight into a low-scoring fight, or he can maybe steal the win. So I like Ledet for that reason, but if anyone's going to finish this fight in the first round, it's probably going to be Walker. So he's the guy with the 100-plus point upside. So I like him in all formats. I would really not consider Ledet in cash because I think he has a super low floor, but I think Walker would be fine in cash because I don't see him getting finished early. I'd be pretty shocked if he did, but I've seen him get knocked out before, so you never know, but I would rather split my ownership between Walker and Souza, and that's what I'll be debating. I'm going to have at least one of them in cash, and I'll just have to figure out who.
Wow, I thought we were going to have a lot more conversation here because everybody I've talked to has been on Johnny Walker, loves Johnny Walker, and I'm on the Ledet side for the reason that we've covered so far. I think Walker has that come forward aggressive style, and if there's one thing you don't want to do against a boxer, it's come straight forward. Ledet will angle off and punch him. Now, he doesn't have finishing prowess so far in the UFC. I've seen Walker knocked out before. It wasn't the hardest shots that have put him down. I saw him drop numerous times in a fight. I think Ledet is very alive. He is one of my favorite tournament options. He is a tournament-only option for me. There are quite a few dogs that I do like for tournaments, though, but Ledet's on that list at 7,000 because of all the salary savings he offers and this fight. High odds to end inside the distance. I tend to like the underdogs in those fights just for the ceiling they offer for their price tag. So give me Justin Ledet here. Walker could absolutely get a quick finish, but the boxing Ledet really concerns me with the fighting style Walker has. If Walker goes out, throws leg kicks and takes down Ledet, different story. I'm not sure he's going to do it. So Justin Ledet, credibly live. We were all in consensus on that one. Let's move on to Charles Dubronx Oliveira, 8,500, taking on David Tamer, the all-action David Tamer. All action being he gets warned 6 times a fight for timidity. He's 7,700. There is odds value on him. He's plus 110. The comeback on Oliveira is minus 120. Kyle, your turn to break down a fight. How do you have Do Bronx and David Tamer?
I definitely see this one ending inside the distance. Either Tamer gets submitted or Do Bronx folds and gets TKO'd. But I'm going to take the Brazilian, who's 14-0 in Brazil. Give me Oliveira. Tamer's not going to be able to be timid with Do Bronx because he's just going to come right at him immediately, and then he's going to start chain wrestling, trying to get this fight to the ground where he knows that's his ball game. If he gets him down and Tamer gets back up, he's just going to keep trying to get the fight to the ground. So he's going to be on him from the start, and I see 95 to 100 points coming from him because I think he can get a first-round submission in Brazil. And Tamer, I don't know. I mean, I think he's going to have pretty high ownership because the odds are pretty close, but the DK salaries are 800 apart. So I think that's going to drive Tamer's ownership up. So I might just full fade him, which is a definite risky idea, but you got to take your stand somewhere. I'm thinking that's going to be one of mine.
Yeah, I love that Tamer's price has dropped because he's not good for DraftKings. He's not quite as bad as the guys in the main event we're going to talk about, especially a Sun Sal, but typically does not score well even in his wins. This fight, by the way, does not go to decision, minus 195. I really like, it pains me to say because I've trashed Do Bronx a lot. I'm an admitted Do Bronx hater, but when I watch the tape on Tamer, the way he pops to his feet against a good grappler like Oliveira, dude leaves himself open. Like, I think Oliveira can get a sub in this one. Tamer gets up quick, but a little sloppy for me. I will say the one thing I do disagree with is I think there's a path to a really boring fight here. And it's Oliveira hates to get hit. We've seen him quit before. Tamer is a good striker, obviously. We've seen him be patient. If you don't engage, he's not going to engage. If Tamer touches Oliveira early and makes him not want to close the distance and get hesitant, we could see a really ugly 50 to 60 point win for David Tamer. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. That's how much Do Bronx hates to get hit. If he's aggressive and close the distance, I think it's Oliveira's fight. But that would be my one concern. But I'm also on the Do Bronx side. Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to change over from what Kyle said here. You know, Do Bronx is one of the best submission grapplers we've ever seen. He's on the Damian Maia level, in my opinion. And we've seen with Tamer, he's just a slippery guy. He's hard to take down. He's hard to hold down. He pops right back up. Dakar Close, who is a takedowns guy, wasn't really able to take him down and hold him down very much. Lentz wasn't able to get a takedown against him. He's very much a fighter that maintains distance. He does a really good job with that. So the question is if Oliveira can get his back or not. And, you know, I do have visions of the Oliveira-Felder fight where Oliveira did take the back, got on him, you know, put the squeeze on. Felder toughs it out. Oliveira kind of gassed his arms out with this attempted squeeze, and then you knew, okay, it's over. As soon as in the Felder fight he got out of that rear naked choke, you're like, uh-oh, if you had money on Oliveira. And, you know, what expected happened, he quit in the second and just like let himself get knocked out. So the question is, will that happen here, or has Oliveira turned a corner? It's home, it's in Brazil, he's not going to want to look bad amongst his countrymen. I'm definitely leaning Oliveira here, and if he gets a win, I think he's going to score really well. But you can't ignore the odds value on Tamer. I don't like this fight in cash. I think it's too difficult. The floor for Tamer here is a 0. And the floor for Do Bronx is not much higher. So the least likely thing is these two guys kind of duke it out and have like a long, high-scoring fight for both of them. One guy is going to score and the other guy's getting nothing. GPP. And I'm definitely leaning Oliveira to get the win, but I could totally see Tamer keeping that distance and piecing him up, throughout this fight. So it's one of those fights that you look at and this card is difficult. And I'll tell you that what I think is the next fight on the card looks similar on paper, but it's very different. So I'm not sure if that'll be the next one coming up. We'll see.
It's you mentioned his name a moment ago. Damian Maia, 8,700, taking on Lyman Good at 7,500. Maia's the favorite, minus 175. Lyman Good, the dog, plus 165. Another 1.5 rounds prop, but it is fight does not go to decision, is minus 180. Look, for me, I'm on Damian Maia in this one. He's 0 for a bajillion in his last 3 fights trying to get a takedown, but that was against Kamaru Usman, Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington, who can stop takedowns in their sleep all day and not get tired. I think Lyman Good's got enough takedown defense to maybe stop the first couple. He's so muscular. I'm worried about him gassing out. And I just think he's not the level of wrestler as those guys, and Maia's going to keep going for them. I don't think Good is going to be able to stop all the takedowns. Once they get down there, it is Maia's world. I think this is one of my concerns. I think this is likely Maia's last fight. But we saw somebody in the last card end his career on with a win in Dennis Bermudez. Good move, by the way. I hope Maia does the same. Ultimately, I think he gets a takedown and a submission, and that's really what we're looking at here is, do you think Maia can take down Lyman Good? I think he does. I think he gets the job done. Lyman Good's last win was against Ben Saunders, who, I mean, most people can knock out Ben Saunders at this point. You know, he was in, I think it was a relatively close fight with, the Zaleski dos Santos fight was a war. Give me Maia in this one. Ultimately, I don't think he can stop enough takedowns to not get submitted by Damian Maia. I do think it is a GPP play, though, this fight as well. Just because if he doesn't get if Maia doesn't get a takedown, he's going to score nothing. You're relying on the sub. And if he takes him around, he could score 70 points in the second round, or 75 points in the second round win. And it's not going to get it done. So for me, this is a GPP fight, but I'm on Maia. Kevin?
Yeah, I don't see it as a GPP fight at all. I have more confidence, I think, than you in what Maia's going to do here. So watching the tape on Lyman Good, okay, so we're talking about his last 3 fights. Some turd named last name Craig. I watched the fight. The guy was a scrub, right? Then he goes toe to toe with Zaleski dos Santos. That's impressive. Takes the loss, right? But a striker, another striker battle. Then he takes on Ben Saunders, who has no chin, right, and knocks him out. Okay, so that's his UFC career. You know what he did before that? He tried to get into the tough 19 house, gets taken down by some scrub, and just dominated on his back for 2 full rounds. Could do nothing. Takedown defense, garbage. So, to me, the last 3 fights that Damian Maia was in, sure, I was not on him because all 3 of those guys were the best wrestlers ever, right? There are all 3 guys that we want to use every time they fight, except when they're fighting Damian Maia and they can't use their takedowns. But you're talking Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, and I don't remember, but 3 of the best fighters.
Tyron Woodley?
Yeah, Tyron Woodley. You're talking
champ?
About, yeah, you're talking about the best, you're talking about the best fighters ever. The best wrestlers and anti-wrestlers, like the perfect antidote for what Damian Maia is doing. I don't care about Damian Maia's age. The reality is Lyman Good has no takedown defense. And he hadn't shown it. I've never seen it. And you can have pretty good takedown defense like someone like Masvidal does and still get taken down by Damian Maia because the way he chain wrestles, it's something unique. The way he keeps coming at you is really something that most other fighters don't do. And I don't think Lyman Good's going to have an answer for it. I give him a shot as far as like the knockout because Damian Maia's old and Lyman Good's young and big and he's ripped. So sure, he could land a knockout blow as Damian Maia is on his way in for one of these attempts. But if that doesn't happen, I don't really see Good stopping these takedowns. And if Damian Maia puts him down, he's not getting back up. I just don't see him getting back up. So you will know pretty quick what's going to happen in this fight. You'll know within the first 2 minutes. If you made money or you're going to know if you made money and you lost money if you bet on Damian Maia really quick. Now, I'm going to have very heavy exposure to him. Let's put it that way. In cash and GPP.
Kyle, how about for you? Are you as confident as Kevin or a little more tepid like I am? And for what it's worth, I will say, this is the DFS podcast. I bet Maia by submission. It's plus 155, which I thought was a pretty good number.
Totally reasonable.
I'd say I'm in the middle pretty much of you two. I'm not quite as confident as him, but I am pretty confident in Maia. So I'm on Maia. I think this fight's just like the last one, except for Maia's 41 years old and he's not as good of a wrestler as Oliveira. But I think if he gets the fight to the ground, similar to Oliveira, he's going to end this fight in the first round. But my worry is what Sean's worry is in the last fight. I could see this being a real boring decision if Maia can't get those takedowns because Good could be timid, stay away from him on the feet, and maybe not try and knock his head off like he always does. So that's my worry in this fight. So I'm not going to be super heavy on it, but my pick is definitely going to be Maya. And I could see him as a cash play. I don't know if I'll do that or not, but I could definitely see it.
There are a limited number of cash plays on this card. There's a lot of close fights, as Kevin mentioned. I don't hate Damian Maya in cash. The more I think about it, just for lack of options, but he's not one of the first guys I'm shoving in like it sounds like Kevin might be, but he's in play for sure. All right, let's go to the co-main event. It is Renato Moicano, 8,300, taking on Jose Aldo at 7,900. Moicano is the favorite over the Brazilian legend, minus 135. The comeback on Aldo is plus 125. Fight goes to decision is minus 160. So Vegas expecting this to go to the judges' scorecards. Kevin, how do you break down our co-main?
This is old guard versus the new Brazilian style right here. And, this is one of the tougher ones. There's a little bit of line value for Renato Moicano here. I've never really seen Moicano not look good in a fight. Like, I haven't seen that. I don't know if you guys have, but for me, I've watched his fights. Have you seen any time when he didn't look good?
The kicks, so I was at the Brooklyn card where he fought Calvin Kattar. He always looks good. Those kicks the sound that came off of Kattar was sickening. Like, probably the hardest kicks I've ever seen or heard in person. The dude's an animal.
That's what I'm saying. And Kattar's a good fighter. This guy got 116 strikes in 3 rounds. So, he's a really good striker. He got 109 strikes on Ortega in 3 rounds. This is a guy who's impressive. I don't see Aldo knocking him out. So what's going to happen here? I mean, there's going to probably be a decision. You've got an incredible technical fighter. You've got Aldo who cannot be taken down. So we know what's going to happen. These two guys are going to stand and duke it out. And you got an old guy against a young buck. Now, the old guy has been pretty good, but the young buck is fresh. He's young. He's really, really, got his shit together. It's funny that I can't believe Moicano was an underdog to Calvin Kattar. It's so funny how recency bias affects those kinds of things. And now he comes off that beating he put on Cub Swanson, and now he's, this slight favorite against Jose Aldo, a legend. But that's what it is. So I think that this being in Brazil, I have a little bit of concern about the legend status of a Jose Aldo in a close fight, where judging might kind of give it to the legendary guy that they really want to get this win and maybe get him a high dollar rematch to close out his career against McGregor or something like that. I don't actually see that happen. I don't see why McGregor is going to want to fight Jose Aldo. It's just not a big enough name anymore. But to me, I'm going to take the line odds value. I'm going to lean with Moicano to get the win here, but with caution. I think even with a loss, though, he's going to score plenty. Because you could see in his wins, and even in his losses, he gets close to 100 significant strikes. And those kind of numbers feel good in cash to me.
Kyle?
Yeah, I'm high on Moicano. I think he's the real deal, possible future champ. And I don't like the talks of possible retirement from Aldo. So, I might be fading Aldo altogether. I'll definitely have some Moicano. But I could see this being a real low-scoring fight. If there's no takedowns and there's no finish, then I don't see 100-plus points coming. We don't really need 100-plus, but I don't even know if they can get 10x in a 15-minute striking battle. So I'm hoping Moicano can go out there and get the finish, but I just am not super sure about it. So I'll probably have at least 30%, something like that. But if you want to fade this fight altogether, I think that's fine because they're both big names, so they're going to carry ownership for that reason. That's probably the best move is just to fade it altogether.
I disagree with that.
What I was going to ask is, though, are you confident in the win for a cash play?
Yeah, I'd say I am. Yeah.
I think both these guys are live in tournaments because Aldo throws such a high volume. You saw him against Holloway try and put on a high volume. He faded in that fight. Stevens, the whole first round was a war. Moicano puts up 100 significant strikes over 3 rounds pretty consistently. I'm not too worried about the volume to get to 10x for a cash play. I'm also picking Moicano. As the week's gone on, I've gotten more and more confident. I have a hard time pulling the trigger, at least for a straight bet. If you bet on Moicano, it's hard to bet against, a guy like Aldo and pay juice on it. But Moicano is so good technically. Aldo, as Kyle mentioned, talking about retirement and these new guard versus old guard fights, the new guard usually wins. That's just how MMA as a sport evolves. I like Moicano here. I like him in cash games. I don't mind him in GPPs at all because I think if anyone's going to get a finish, it's probably going to be Moicano. And that's just weird to say about an Aldo fight, but I'm on the Moicano train in this one. My one worry is one that's not a technical breakdown at all, and there's another spot later that's similar to it. Feels a little bit like the Twitter mush of the week. Like everyone is on Hanato Moicano. And I get this, when you're analyzing a fight, you can't take that stuff into consideration. But if we are all looking back Sunday morning saying, man, how did we bet against Jose Aldo? It wouldn't surprise me. Just quick aside for what it's worth, if you want to look into that at all. But I, like everyone else, I'm picking Hanato Moicano. I think he wins this fight. And the longer the week goes, the more comfortably I think he wins the fight. Speaking of fights to fade, Kyle, it's time to talk about our main event. Marlon Moraes, 8,800, taking on Rafael Assunção at 7,400. I'm not sure about a full fade because we have odds value here, as Rafael Assunção is a plus 140 underdog. So good price, good odds for 7.4K underdog. Marlon Moraes minus 150. The over is set at 4.5 rounds, minus 172. Fight goes to decision, minus 170. Expected to see 5 rounds of striking here. Kyle, what are your thoughts on our main event?
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see this as a fight to fade as well. It is the main event. It's going to get a lot of ownership for that reason. I could totally see the winning lineup not having the main event or that Aldo fight in it. Usually I'm team stack. Almost always I'm team stack. But this week, I don't think you need to do it because, I mean, in their first fight, they combined for 74 points, I believe. Now they get 2 more rounds, so that'll help them get closer to 100. But I want 100 floor when I'm stacking a fight. So I think Assunção is the cash play and Moraes is the GPP play. I think Moraes gets the job done, but I think it goes all 5 rounds. So give me the 5 rounds worth of striking that I'll get from Assunção. But if anyone's going to finish this play, I think it's Moraes. So that's why he's the GPP play.
Yep, Moraes has finished his last 2 fights, but he's still a bantamweight. He had that crazy knee knockout of Aljamain Sterling, head kicked Jimmy Rivera last time out in the opening seconds of that fight. Not they weren't good performances, but it's hard for me to count on a 135-pounder who's not Cody Garbrandt to go out there and just get knockouts. And even Cody Garbrandt. Ultimately, we saw this fight 3 years ago. It's not like it was terribly long time ago. Ultimately, I still think Assunção is a better striker. I know Moraes is on the upswing. He has the momentum. Assunção is fighting and clawing to get another title shot, another crack at TJ Dillashaw. He wins this fight. He's going to get it. I still think he's the better striker. I think he's a little more technical, a little faster, hand speed wise, I should say. Assunção in a close fight. I think Kyle nailed it. I think this fight should be a pick'em, and we're getting value on Assunção, so he becomes the better DK play pretty much de facto for me. And Moraes, I'll throw in a couple shares of GPPs, but I'm not going overboard. Kevin, how about for you?
Yeah, I mean, agree with a lot of what you guys said. The line value is terrible here on Moraes, minus 150 for his salary. So if you're taking him, you're basically giving up some line value. And I don't really want to do that on a guy who's not super likely to get a quick finish. I'm okay with that with Dubronx, for example, at minus 120 because, if he's winning, he's getting a quick sub. That's going to be a high-scoring fight. This fight, we saw it play out once before, and it certainly didn't score very well. Assunção, even in the win, only scored 52 DraftKings points, 43 strikes, and it wasn't much better for Moraes. So, Kyle, like what you said, I'm not targeting 100 if I ever stack a fight, by the way. I'm looking for 150 plus, and this isn't going anywhere near there. So, for the first time in a while, this is certainly a main event that I'm not interested in, certainly not in the favorite for cash. I could see playing Assunção in cash because I think he's going to give you 5 rounds of striking, and at 15 strikes a round, not that that's spectacular, But, it gets you to 75 strikes and 35, 40 points. He's not going to take him down. But if you can pair that with the win and he can get you 70, I think he's got a reasonable chance of winning. But certainly the floor is fairly high here. I don't love any side of this fight. I'm perfectly comfortable not using either guy in cash or GPP, which again is pretty unusual. And it makes this a tougher card. This fight should have been, 8,300, 7,800. So the fact that the salaries are where they are really kind of skews things in a weird way for me. And it just makes me not interested in this fight at all. I do think Moraes, if one guy is going to knock the other guy out quick, it will be Moraes, and he's shown that he can do it. But I don't think it's highly likely that it'll happen. These are small guys.
All right, guys, that's what we have for the free portion of the DFS Army MMA Killshot podcast. Take a quick break here. If you're a sub, stay on. We will break down the rest of the fights. If you're not, you probably should be. Go ahead and sign up, dfsarmy.com. Go to the membership page, get yourself one of the packages there, light or VIP. Recommend the VIP, obviously, because you get access to all of us in chat, ask any questions, especially if, something crazy on fight day happens. We've seen it before, could happen again, will happen again. Don't know if it's this week, but so make sure you are a member. If not, good luck in your contest, and we'll see you next time for a free podcast, or maybe you will become a VIP then, because there's a lot of good stuff coming on the other side of this break. Sub, stay on. Just 1 second.
Thank you for listening to the DFS Army podcast. Join the DFS Army today and gain access to our private Slack chat, where you can chat with real DFS pros and coaches, as well as other DFS Army members with winning track records. Also included in your membership is access to our premium articles, DFS Army weighted projections for every sport we offer, from NFL to MMA, weekly player picks and cheat sheets, the strategy vault of timeless concepts, and the DFS Army Domination Station, a truly state-of-the-art lineup optimizer, offering your personal projections or ours. The DFS Army membership is the best value across the industry. Join today and get 2 free ebooks, as well as the secrets to unlocking a new level to your game.